welcome to the Gaia update for the full moon in Scorpio that's happening on Sunday, April 29th, 2018. I'm Adrienne Elise. We're coming up on this powerful full moon in Scorpio. The sun has moved in to Taurus. That happened on the 19th of April. And so Taurus is an earth sign. It's a fixed earth sign. So we're feeling a little bit more stabilized, grounded, and kind of assimilating everything that's been happening, especially since this Mercury retrograde and all the information that's been trying to come in. This is good to have a little stabilization because we have a power-packed week leading up to this full moon. Of course, Pluto's the ruler of Scorpio, and Jupiter's in Scorpio retrograde right now, sextile Pluto. And so there's a lot of messages going on, but Scorpio has a lot of power energy. It has an incredible kind of turning of the tide type energy. And so we're feeling this buildup through the whole week leading up to this full moon. So it starts with, so first of all, Saturn has turned retrograde. That happened on the 17th, the same day that Chiron moved into Aries. And so check out my Chiron and Aries video to get some more information about that. Basically, we're having an opportunity to move into a whole new chapter. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's a new beginning, a new birth for Chiron, the wounded healer. And can we come out from wallowing and being stuck in our wounds and move to the next place, move to the next chapter, empower ourselves to stand up and kind of drop it, you know? And so there's a lot of energy for this right now, especially since Mercury, the sun moved into Taurus, but Mercury is still in Aries and Chiron just moved in there. So we're still having a massive bloom of this Aries energy, especially with Mercury now going direct, coming over for the third time this place in these degrees of Aries. So what's happening the week leading up to this full moon is that Mercury, now direct in Aries, is coming into its third square with Saturn in Capricorn. So Aries and Capricorn are in a 90-degree angle from each other. They're both cardinal signs, meaning it's wanting to start new chapters. The cardinals are the starters, the instigators. And so we're having this Mercury going direct. Okay, I got the information I need about my empowerment, about my individual rights, my ability to hold my space, to be who I really am. These are the issues of Aries. And Mercury is ready to go forward with this and coming up into this third square. So squares are about tension. It's about what's in the way. And this square with Saturn is about what's in the way of you being your true self and your empowerment. And Saturn in Capricorn saying it's the man. It's just the authority energy of this world, of the obstacles, feelings like things are working against you. Now Saturn has this kind of bad rap because it's about karma and time and do it right and, you know, make it work, make it real. But really the energy behind Saturn is to get in our way until we get on our right path, the path that's really appropriate for us. And so we're having this empowerment and karma energy going on, and especially with Saturn and Capricorn at home there, karma around where we've given our power away to authoritarian energies. And of course, this is massively highlighted with Pluto in Capricorn. So a bunch of Aries and Capricorn energy continues. This speaks to the Pluto-Uranus square that has, you know, been influencing us since 2011. And we moved out of that. But this cardinal square here going on and the last moon cycle as well, it's about just kind of this tension around our personal autonomy, our personal rights, our wanting, our ability and our permission to be who we really are against the system. Okay, so that's going on. It's been going on, but there's a big bloom of it because what's happening this week is that not only is that Mercury squaring Saturn, now that is happening, we're feeling it the whole week leading up into this full moon until the 30th. And we're also feeling one of the most powerful aspects that happens about every 2 years. This is Mars coming up into a conjunction with Pluto. So Mars and Pluto are our power planets. Mars is the warrior, let's go, let's make stuff happen, the ruler of Aries. And so coming up with Pluto power, the power of the subconscious, the power of the mysteries, of the secrets of power plays and manipulation and deceit, and like what's being hidden from us, you know. So, but Pluto, this power structure, or the power planet, death, rebirth, transformation is what Pluto rules as well, sexual issues. And it's in the sign of Capricorn. So that's the structures of authority in our world. So Mars kind of likes being Capricorn because it likes the, you know, the cardinal energy of trying to make some stuff happen. But it wants to move. And it's interesting because Pluto takes a retrograde on the 22nd. So Pluto is kind of slowing down. And this week, it's like moving into a retrograde cycle. Apparently, from our perspective, it goes backwards through the zodiac. And Mars is pummeling into it. And it's kind of like a clash of power structures. And so what seems to be going on in this week leading up to this very potent Scorpio full moon is things are coming up to the surface around power in our life. Where do we give our power away? Where have we not been respectful of our power? Where have we not been owning our power? Where have we misused our power, you know? And so there's a lot going on in the collective energy, but also in our internal life. So expect situations to come up that are going to show you, and it's not very fun to look at, but we've got some creative solutions available with that Jupiter sextile Pluto. So when Mars comes into this conjunction, that happens exact on the 26th and 27th, but that is also going to create that sextile to Jupiter. And that's a very beautiful thing because this is about creative solutions. So we're like coming into power play, we're coming into Mars wants to move forward, Pluto going back saying, hey, there's some deep secrets around our power structures and what we don't really see, what we haven't been able to face, humanity collectively, the way we've been manipulated and controlled, and also the way we give our power away in our own individual life. And this Mercury direct in Aries is like, stand up, you know, like no more. And this is humanity's being called, but they're to stand up and take our power back. But we're having creative solutions. And so Jupiter and Scorpio sextile Mars and Pluto in Capricorn. And so we're kind of having this kind of like, okay, we're going to face a little bit of the yucky shadow of the stuff we don't want to look at, but how can we change it if we can't even look at it? This is where humanity is right now. Humanity wants to stay asleep and continue to be mind controlled and continue to be robbed of all of our riches, our internal riches, by buying into this bad software paradigm, okay? And so it's like, we're like, we gotta look at this darkness and in our own life, our own shadow, our own mysteries, our own secrets from past lives or from earlier in our life, our early childhood. We have to look at them first before we can clear them. And that's what's going on. But this sextile is kind of like, okay, there's creative solutions here. It's intense, but we're going to kind of eke our way into this shifting change. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be everything falling apart. It has to be just gradual adjustments based on facing the truth of these mysteries and these deceptions. And so it's like hugely going on in the collective. There's a lot of energy for information to come forward about the truth of this world and our politics and all that stuff, and also in our individual life. So be ready for these, because it's really potent opportunities to be like, hey, like, okay, so you have a situation where you have an interaction with someone and then you leave the situation and you're like, oh, I don't feel good about myself. Like, what just happened there? I totally gave my power away. And Aries is like, no, I'm not going to be a part of this. I am going to say what I think right now, and I'm going to speak the truth, and I'm going to be real. And so it's kind of like, you know, it's coming up, but it's this huge opportunity to just drop all these stories and these programs and conditioning that have kept us from being in our own autonomy and feeling like we have, as human beings, as consciousness in a body, we are the power. The people have the power. We've just been tricked into thinking that a small amount of people who aren't really even people, they're not even really human, you know, have the power. And it's not true. And this is this huge revolution we're in right now with Chiron moving into Aries. It's like, okay, coming out of victim, coming out of the cave of denial and delusion, and facing the reality so we can change the reality, so we can be more true to who we really are. And so that's our role right now as individuals. You know, that's how we be a part of this collective evolution revolution, is to be true to ourselves and to be true to our human compassion and our feelings, and like just be real and stand up for what's right and true and good. And that's the truth of what humanity is. We've just been tricked into thinking that we're violent and we're this and we're that. That's just all programming, and it's all contrived right now. We have evolved to this point where we're more and more sensitive to the struggles and the pain of other people. And so that means we have to change the structures of this world so we can continue to move forward. And that's what's going on right now. So this is really powerful. Now, so this week leading up is like gearing us up for this Scorpio full moon. And then what happens on the actual full moon is at 9 degrees Scorpio. And that's exactly where Saturn is in Capricorn. So this full moon, when it's full, makes this beautiful sextile to Saturn. That authoritarian structures, karma, time, are you doing it right? What's your problem? Get it real, like get it right. And so again, that's this creative solution energy. And so the full moon in Scorpio, the full moon brings illumination, right? And it's in Scorpio, it brings illumination to the shadow, to these mysteries, to this power. Okay, so it's interesting because it's like Pluto rules this energy of like the power that's hidden, that's used against us until we can come to terms with it. And you know, that's what's going on, is we've got these shadowy, bad, horrible things that have been happening in our collective consciousness, and we're not able to come to terms with it. And so, and we're also again in our individual consciousness, coming to terms, putting the light on the shadow. Now, this is the universe is speaking to us so strongly right now, and it's like you can't make this stuff up, the way these patterns are coming together with the planets. Because a really beautiful thing that's happening is that Chiron has just moved into Aries, right? But it's still at the Aries point. It's still at 0 degrees Aries, which is the beginning of everything. It's the spark of creation. It's all of the potent energy. You know, Aries is ruled by Mars because it's the warrior. It's all this energy that's needed to come into form, to create, to make the new. And so that's where Chiron is, at 0 degrees. And there's this crazy conjunction between Juno, asteroid goddess Juno, and Chiron, the wounded healer, at 0 degrees Aries. And it's saying it's a new beginning. It's a new beginning. And what's Juno about? Juno is about committed partnerships. It's about marriage. It's about commitment. It's about deep trust, but also betrayal. And gosh, haven't we been betrayed by the powers that we've trusted in? And haven't we all had these experiences in life? And so so the other thing that Juno rules is contractual arrangements, like marriages have a contract, right? But we've all made huge soul contracts to come into this evolution where we've given away our power. And so right now on this full moon in Scorpio, it's like illumination of the shadow and the truth, and an opportunity to break soul contracts. So this can be contracts with partnerships and this life or past lives, but it's also contracts where you've given your power away to higher authorities. Speaking of all that Capricorn energy, you know, where have you given your soul power away? Maybe before you even came in to this earth evolution, you know, have you sold your soul? Is it time to take it back? And that's what this full moon in Scorpio is saying to us. And in order to do that, we kind of have to face where we've given our power away, where we've given our soul away, and to be able to claim it back. Because we bought into these stories that like we couldn't handle our own power. It's too much for us, right? And especially as indigo starseeds crystals coming into this evolution, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, well, I'll do whatever to get here. You know, I'll do whatever to come to earth. Sure, you can have, I have such a big soul, you can have part of it, and it's being held hostage. And it's time to take it back. So massive opportunity. And this is going to be the focus of the live activation. So I hope you can join me. It's going to be on the exact day of the full moon. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. That's noon on the West Coast and 3 p.m. on the East Coast. But we're going to go ahead and, claim our right to be who we really are as humans, and kind of have an opportunity and to work together to build a collective energy to support each other in breaking soul contracts that are no longer serving us with that Juno Chiron. Because with Juno, it's like contracts, Chiron's woundedness. So our soul deep wounds over many lifetimes is what Chiron represents in our chart. And a Juno is like, break those contracts, like you don't need to, it's time to be empowered now, and we don't need to be victims of this artificial manifested mechanical artificial intelligence agenda reality. We're humans, we're consciousness in a body manifested in physical form, the most powerful thing there is. And so it's time for us humans to take back that power, and we can do that one person at a time, but together on this activation. So I hope you can join me for that. Information to sign up for that is below. And so hang in there. What happens in this, after the full moon makes that sextile, so on the full moon, the moon makes a sextile with Saturn, magic solutions available to this issue of our authoritarian structures and whether they're serving us on a soul level or not. Okay, then the moon on Monday, the day after, comes into a conjunction with Jupiter. So really potent, because Jupiter's still in that sextile with Pluto. So the moon is our emotions. It's our connection with nurturing and feeling like we are nurtured in this world. And so it's really powerful for the moon to come into the sextile with Saturn in Capricorn, and then right away come up with Jupiter and into a sextile with Pluto in Capricorn. And it's like there's creative solutions, but also it's emotional solutions. So that means we have to kind of look at our emotions. Our emotions are the power that we have. Humans have this crazy range of emotions because we have gone through these evolutions. We had to fall in Atlantis and redo it all over again, and that's actually our power. It can be our downfall too, but Scorpio has a very emotional energy, and of course watery, and the shadow and the depths, it's like hidden, suppressed emotions are wanting to come up to the surface. And so that's going to be a big energy of this full moon. But creative solutions to resolve emotional issues from the past that have been hidden and suppressed, maybe from many lifetimes or evolutions. And so just incredibly potent time. And the stars, the planets are saying to us, hey, like, we're lining up for you. We're lining up for you to see clearly the shadow and where you've given your power away because of that shadow. It's kind of like this picture of someone being lured into a situation, and then people using that, like filming them behind the scenes and using that as blackmail. That's kind of the energy of this. It's like, like, where's the shadow forced us to give our power away and play dirty games, because we don't want to face it. And so it's all coming up to the surface, and it's like a tidal wave with the Scorpio full moon. So be ready to release and break these contracts and move into your own spiritual autonomy and your new chapter as we have this massive shifting time on planet Earth, but with harmonized solutions with these sextiles. So just remember, when things get really intense, that there's also a solution there, and it's coming up. We got to look at it. So these places where we give our power away have to come up so that we can take our power back. Okay, so I look forward. I hope I can see you on the activation. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful Scorpio full moon. I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.